Hi guys, it is Taurus season, so it seems to be very appropriate to use this Earth Magic deck. So we are going to have that assist us in the readings. So before we just jump into your readings, just to let you know that I still have the promotions, speed up promotion, meaning you get one level up. So you sign up for a regular reading, you get a rush reading, you sign up for rush, you get urgent, and you sign up for urgent, you get it before you finish typing. Not kidding, you get it in 24 hours. So just go on cattarot.ca and find basically where I have this special list is listed under book your reading. Now, second thing I have, annual taroscopes are still discounted, and like it's only $10 for one sign or $20 for all of the signs. So you can check your Venus sign, you can check your ascendant, you can check your sun sign. I generally like to lurk on the other people's Mars signs to see kind of like how that's going to work out. And lastly, I'm taking applications for the next round of Tarot School, which is starting May the 15th. The first group is running, and I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, such a kind of or Instagram or both, so you get a daily reading, or it's not going to be like a little bit kind of learn about as tarot. I initially thought it would be 11. I think this is enough for me. So and the next is that's it for my announcement. So guys, hopefully. Hi Scorpio, and welcome to your May forecast. I'm actually really excited to kind of like read for you, but also keep in mind that this is a general reading, and to really understand and look into your own detailed situation, please contact me for your private reading at cattarot.ca. So what did you get? Ocean, ebb and flow, rainbow, blessings, Gaia, nurturing. But you also have some kind of guilt, which kind of goes through phases and getting to maturity. So ocean came out first. So ocean, of course we know it's being influenced with the moon, right? And oceans cover about, I would say, 70% of the planet, right? And there is like that dynamic gravitational interaction of the sun and moon that kind of like moves this kind of like massive bodies of water and creating this kind of like tides. And it's like absolutely amazing when you kind of like see this force, right, happening from the outside, right? So sometimes the tides are predictable unless we get something unforeseeable, something like hurricanes, earthquakes, right? And tsunamis that kind of like affect both tides and waves. So I really think this is really talking about you guys, because you have been going through emerging literally through your own basically sign. You know, you have this kind of rebirth, you have this like phoenix, you have something that has to give, and you have been going through sort of lots of punches in the last while, and then you have basically emerged out of your cocoon. So it is like still accepting the art of living, and it's accepting that life moves like in waves. It's an ebb and flow, right? And there is like sort of like same thing with our emotions, the same thing with things that are happening in our life. just because you've been through a whole bunch of things, like, doesn't mean that all of a sudden there's like going to be a nice rosy period. It's just like simply accepting it, right? I think more or less because it's connected to the moon, it's more or less referring to emotions. And when you neither minimize nor exaggerate the intensity, kind of importance of your emotions, then you start making a greater sense of when and how to express them, right? So this is kind of really important, because maybe you have been denying your own hurt, denying your own anger or sorrow, and maybe you're attaching, you know, yourself, kind of like almost like maybe you have some kind of attachment, like maybe you're nursing a child, or something is still kind of like there that doesn't feel it's a part of it, right? So we need to kind of attempt to kind of release, because when you attempt to constrict yourself from experiencing your emotions, it's very like to stopping tides, right? And they actually just become more forceful. If you kind of build a wall, they're going to just like go up the wall. So allow yourself to swim with kind of like variations of emotions rather than resisting them. And then you have this rainbow. You're getting into what happens after the rain. The rainbow shows up, right? The storm has passed, right? You are rebalancing, right? Maybe this ebb and flow is sort of a storm, but like you didn't get volcano or tsunami, so it's not going to be something important, because it looks to me the worst is over. It has been for months. Right now for you, it's actually much better. It's kind of time to kind of like enjoy actually almost the cycle that you're going through, right? It's not like I never give like such an easy example. Oh, just look on the bright side, just like be positive, because that's the most ridiculous thing really to say to anybody, because it never works, it never will work, it never worked. But there are people who are making billions and millions, or millions and billions, basically telling people, oh, just repeat after me. Just if you repeat after me, you're going to be just like me. Just as if, you know, they didn't have different sense of circumstances. So this is kind of that understanding that you're very unique, and that there is like this process of life, and this process of life is a blessing in itself, right? And we live on this beautiful planet. We kind of like, you don't try to intellectualize things. Don't go with some kind of like academic mantra, you know, sometimes it doesn't have the hook in your heart. You're water sign. The emotions are really important for you. Otherwise you don't connect, right? It keeps telling me that you might be guilty over something. This card talks about trap. You see all this mind, all these thoughts going through that cannot go away. This is either fear or denial or feeling trapped. Something kind of like seems to be hard to get out. And in your case, it's almost like accepting this is just a normal part. Something like this needs to happen, because kind of like the rainbow will come, right? Nothing lasts forever. This too shall pass. So guilt is like one of the most unproductive emotions, because it's such an easy way to deal with this. Whether you go and apologize, or you basically forgive yourself, because that's the key. If the other person does not want to accept an apology, and maybe can cause you a situation that is actually getting worse, simply write a letter to yourself and let it go. Burn it during the full moon, and maybe it's going to take a few cycles, but that cycle will kind of happen, because everything here is telling me about the cycles and telling me about understanding, especially for females, right? Like, I mean, females should be really naturally in tune with different cycles. And this is definitely you guys, Gaia, nurturing the Earth Mother, right? Great Goddess, Terra Mater, right? This is like sort of like somebody who kind of like really nurtures not only herself, but everything around her, right? I really think this is, you know, something that you need. Maybe you neglected yourself. Maybe you just kept feeling exposed. You're continuously feeling like you're floating that little kind of like leaf in the ocean, and everything is like crashing on you, right? this is kind of sometimes hard. We have this childhood conditioning, and you should do this, you should do this, you should do that, and we get to be programmed, especially you Scorpio, like you're very ambitious, you guys go and go and go and go. But this is talking about healing our wounds, right? And this is allowing others to nurture you, and absolutely that is what's going to happen this month. There's like this new strong beginning with maturity, where is like this also Gaia like showing up in this Osho Zen deck as well, right? So, you know, allow others to be there for you. Just if you have to, ask for it. You know, consider also the actions that you take that are self-nurturing, really. What comes to your mind when you kind of like think about doing beneficial things for yourself? What do? Are you paying attention? Are you aware that like everything is cyclical in the nature, and that eventually rainbow will come out? That even the storm and something that maybe we fear is going to have that happy ending eventually, right? So I really think that maybe this is telling me a little bit of the ritualized habits that maybe you have absorbed, but that they don't have sense or any meaning anymore, and it's maybe time to shut them, because this is the Ace of Pentacles. It is talking about going in a new direction and something setting long term. So it's almost like a balance that needs to be established, where it's telling me that you are still, maybe to some extent, undermining your own process of your own healing. So let me just see what you got over here. So we are starting with Three of Fire. That's a good card. Three of Fire is, again, looking up, going toward the light. It is just about to jump. You sort of like did set your mind on something. One is about action. Ready, set, go. Well, you're on the set part over here, right? But you do have the goal in mind. And we have Sea Tom reversed. This definitely talks about something emotional, something unfulfilled, something that maybe almost looks flimsy. You're exploring some emotions. Definitely, this could be just you looking at yourself, and maybe you're really examining yourself. How do you react in this give and take situations? And then you guys are moving forward. This is like, this can mean travel. This can mean really pushing forward. This is like a really fast card, and it is a moon related, moon kind of a driven card, because it also belongs to Cancer. So this is like now reinforcing the message of the ocean that we are getting. Guys, do not think in terms of black and white. You kind of have to figure it out, this ebb and flow, that sometimes solution is not necessarily what we want, and we don't have to choose between, you know, top or bottom. Maybe it's something in between the black and white. Maybe you have to look for this gray, the shades of gray, million shades of gray, that kind of like we have to dress, because you're definitely, you are really going through an emotional month, but a good one, right? There you go, Nine of Sky. Maybe you are getting anxious lately, having different kind of things coming at you. Look at these little kind of nightmares, and you know, when you see your little kitty sleeping and twitching, I frankly don't know how they do it. When I look at Safi, I'm thinking like, you have been a partner cat all your life. What do you know? What is scaring you? Like, I literally didn't raise Safi properly, because she was the only basically animal I ever had that didn't have exposure to anything bad. And the only bad thing is like strangers and no means nothing to her. But this could be the strangers card. It could be something foreign. It could be something that you guys didn't really want. And I guess this is why it makes sense. Maybe you're feeling some kind of guilt, because these two cards are really close cousins over here. There is still something regarding your past, regarding the cyclical, rhythmical part in your life. You have to really go and look, what is this going on, because you want to get out of that circle. You want to get out of that spinning. And it's going to look hard for you, or hurtful for you for some reason, but you will still go forward. And then you have like the Earth King. Earth King to me is somebody who is taken, somebody who is married, or somebody who doesn't want to commit, or somebody who's just like really projecting things through the skin kind of a thing, skin deep kind of things. It could be kind of like quick sex. It could be, you know, processing through some kind of like different filters. And I think honestly you are kind of processing maybe things in your own life about relationships that maybe ended, that maybe should never happen, or maybe you became who you are because of some kind of like past experiences. Maybe you are not willing or capable to commit, but maybe it's somebody else in your life who is not doing that. So then we have Eight of Sea. It's kind of interesting, guys. This card is coming out a lot. The Eight of Sea is usually talks about comfort, because look at this kitty is listening to the shell, and you know, when you put an ear on the shell, or better, shell on the ear, you hear all this kind of like waves spiraling, and shell is usually Fibonacci. It's the perfection. It's like entire nature is kind of going around this kind of like pi number. This card is talking about sometimes we need to leave the comfort. Sometimes in the nature of the people is to kind of excel, to go and check. It is kind of like asking you to make sure that you're happy, to make sure that you don't settle, to make sure that you don't kind of like fall into this, because both of these cards are telling me that you will be actually moving some kind of like motions and kind of going and walking away from some kind of situation that was not productive in the past. And then we have Earth Queen. Now, this is telling me a little bit different story. Is there a couple? Are you a part of a couple? Would it be you, or do you have some kind of couple around you? Kind of like, which kind of like make more sense to me, because you are charging out. Or are you charging out of relationship? Or are you charging out of some kind of arrangement? Because again, there is something that outlived its purpose. That would be Safi sharpening her nails prior to her performance coming to the table. So the Earth Queen is the one who kind of can get very clingy. She could be just like self-absorbed too, especially when it comes to money. I don't know, are you dealing with somebody like that, because this is falling in your emotion category, or are you becoming that way yourself? So we'll see. The environment is Nine of Earth. You have two nines. There is the rainbow after the storm. You guys are finalizing one phase and going to the next level, and that's why this means going. The Nine of Earth is like literally a grounding force. You might have somebody in your life, and this is again going back to this nurturing, because what can sound better than this? Just being somewhere in the garden. And especially May is like so beautiful, and just like literally enjoying everything that you have, you know, just looking out, but not necessarily, you know, like this is kind of like walking away, exploring something else to see if you want to continue in a different direction, or you kind of like really want to kind of like enjoy this for a moment. This is kind of like giving yourself a pat on the shoulder kind of thing. Hey, you know what, I'm doing okay. It's kind of remove the programming I have to, because I can see ambition over here. I can see charging new direction, new ideas, but you guys seemingly are forgetting yourself in the process over here. Seemingly kind of you want to go forward. Maybe you take other people in account, because I see like 3 people over here, and then they sidetrack you. So, you know, every trip can be derailed, you know. Just because you're charging doesn't mean that you come to the destination. So it's going to be interesting. I'm going to try to see these people, what are they saying to us. And then you have 10 of Sky, interestingly, because you had a 9 of Sky here. On the other side, you have 10 of Sky reversed. So look at this kitty. This kitty is just drawing its last life. As you can see, it's dark, it's cold, it's cornered, doesn't have one eye. I don't know if you can even see this card over here. You see, the poor thing, and it's over. The tail is broken. But it's kind of like saying, look, the day is finally coming out. And, you know, maybe even if it is a lost life, this is like talking about finishing the cycle, something kind of like coming to an end. And you're kind of like fearing something. And I don't know. It looks like that there is something, and something I think still belongs to the past. You're still maybe holding on to a relationship that has created guilt, that did create something repetitive, and hence this ebb and flow, and the new style of life is kind of hard. It looks like you're still programmed in the old process, and this is calling for you to actually nurture, because you have a 9 here, then you have a 10, and then you have 1. So this is like where it switches, right? This is the feeling. You're like fearing that you're going to be let down. You are fearing if you step out of what you have, that you're going to lose everything. You are programmed to think this way, right? Because this is exactly the train of thought that has to be cut off and say, hey, you know what? I'm Scorpio. I'm so freaking strong. I can kind of like move forward. And the nurturing is a part of that moving forward, right? So where is this going? Wow, there you are. You're coming through. You're cutting that cord that I just told you, and you're coming through. And this is like that nurturing, loving, caring, all-encompassing kind of like feeling. Over here, it's definitely you. There is like this blessing and nurturing coming. Oh my gosh, Scorpio, I don't even know how to name this. Charging forward to your own destiny. This is amazing. So you're one of the signs who is not afraid of dark and definitely wants light. So you're charging toward this light. So Scorpio, as I said, this is general reading, so you can actually go into more definition with your own. Contact me via cattarot.ca. Your comments would be lovely to see, so please also give me a thumbs up, I hope, and check my Facebook and Instagram for the additional tarot in between these YouTube tarot sessions. So Scorpio, remember, nurturing is the key this month. Love you.